You are welcome to my channel. Today I'll be addressing cervical cancer risk factors. If you haven't listened to the first presentation on cervical cancer, please kindly do. There, I have gone through the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. So, this is the second presentation on cervical cancer, the risk factors. By definition, risk factors will influence the occurrence of anything, any disease, but this time cervical cancer. Most of the risk factors that I will go through here will not directly cause cervical cancer. Even some may not be identified with any of these risk factors, but they will still come down with cervical cancer, while some that will be identified with many of these risk factors may not eventually come down with cervical cancer. The causative agent. The entire presentations on cervical cancer will center around human papillomavirus. Today is all about how we can acquire this virus. Mostly, cervical cancer will come up when there is the presence of human papillomavirus 16 and 18. Then ask me, what will happen to the rest? Other will not usually cause cervical cancer, and why that? They are cleared off with the help of the immunity in the womb. Now, I will go into high-risk male as a factor. This is least considered by many, but it's true, can be the problem that the woman is passing through. Okay, here is the scenario. You are a chaste lady, and then you start a relationship with a guy, and you are doing everything right, okay? You are keeping to only one partner, and your guy, unfortunately, is not. Behind you, he is having relationship with other females, and he had contracted human papillomavirus, brought it home to you. You are already infected now, not because you are responsible, because your male partner did that, despite all the precautions you've taken. So, what are you going to say? You are now having cervical cancer by association. Is that fair to say? I guess. Now, sexually transmitted infections. The human papillomavirus itself is sexually transmitted. Then, other sexually transmitted infections like genital herpes, trichomonas, and HIV. False assumption. Here, I will need to explain fully. The false assumption that nothing is wrong with me has actually led to cervical cancer growing without people knowing. Because human papillomavirus will take a long time before forming symptomatic cervical cancer. Before you will be seeking help, it will take a long time. It's a slow process that will take about 10 years. So when you are told to do this, to do that, protect yourself, you just felt that, no, the past 10 years, past 15 years, I don't have any problem. Even I've gone through the signs and symptoms, I don't have any of those stuff that this guy talked about. It's true, it's slow. It's going to take a long time, about 10 years. So by the time some, it would have gone so far. Now, slow to form, just like I've said, takes a long time. But if you follow the protocol, if you are screened regularly, they will pick dysplasia first, and then they will do something. Because dysplasia will be the first thing to occur, then carcinoma in situ, then invasion of the pelvic structures, before distant metastasis. So people who have been diagnosed with stage 4 of cervical cancer, then they should ask themselves, why have I ignored all the screening protocols? Why? human papillomavirus vaccination. I have brought this here because some will say, I'm not going to take it. The vaccination is available to young people, even males, no, but some will not want to take the Gaddafi or Cervaris. No, I'm not going to do that. But if you don't do that, then 100% abstinence. Yes. But you don't want to take the vaccination, you are not abstaining, and you are not practicing safe relationship, then you are going to come down with cervical cancer. Or you are not taking the vaccination because you are living in a countries where the vaccines are not provided, or you have just moved from such country or countries to the Western world. So you've been practicing your relationship, no protection, no abstinence, and no vaccination, you might have contracted human papilloma virus. Pap smear or pap test. Avoiding screening is a bad thing. Please, after listening to this presentation, contact your physician. Make sure you have the pap smear done. If some would have presented themselves for the pap smear, but not properly done, and that is being repeated year after year, they can still come down. Or you are a new immigrant who has never been screened, then there's a problem. It doesn't mean you would definitely have it, but if you, in one way or the other, had in the past contracted human papilloma virus and you've never been screened, we don't know the stage that the cancer will be right now. Non-compliance, like truly you adhering to the instructions by your family physician, you are invited for the screening, you've gone, the result is here, and the doctor has said, oh, please, in the next 3 months, I want you to come back because of inadequate sample. And you say, I don't have time for that. My friend went last year and this year, so yearly, so that's what I'm going to keep. Maybe that doctor doesn't know what he's doing or what she's doing. No, you are increasing the chances of you coming down with a problem. Or they said, okay, you are going to have human papillomavirus DNA testing done because you are now 30 years or greater. I said, no, I'm not ready for that. All these things will probably lead to the cervical cancer being then dictated later on when it has gone so deep. Starting sexual intercourse early in life. Some actually set the screening protocol to begin at 3 years after the first sexual activity, but some will say from age 21. They won't even care whether you've been in a relationship or not. Okay, the risk may be low if you are monogamous and your partner is also monogamous and neither had contracted human papillomavirus before. So the risk might still be low. If you are practicing safe relationship with a faithful partner, it's not likely you will have cervical cancer. But please still follow the screening protocol. Multiple partners. You understand what I've written here, right? By the nature of our job or his job, then the chances will be more. No, immunocompromised state, like anyone with HIV taking radiation, chemotherapy, disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, steroids, transplantation with immunosuppressants. I'm not saying they would definitely have it. No, it will serve as risk factor that will increase the chances of having it if they contract human papilloma virus. There it is, testosterone. Some women, because they've been treated for miscarriage with this drug, the girls inside the womb will develop abnormal growth in the cervix and the vagina region. And if that is the case, if there's history of deaths being given in the mother before the girl had been delivered, then we will start annual pap test for the abnormal cells involving all the four quadrants. Contraception. Contraception on its own will never give you cervical cancer, any type. But the awareness that I cannot be pregnant may serve as impetus to indulge in unrestricted relationships, and in that process, the lady can become infected with human papillomavirus. So contraception on its own cannot give you cervical cancer, but the awareness that I cannot be pregnant, I'm free to do anything I like, might lead to that. Smoking. I'm not saying smoking will give you the cancer, no, but it will increase the chances more than non-smokers. Let me explain further. Lady A is smoking, Lady B is not smoking. If the two of them should have the same pattern of relationship, Lady A will likely come down with cervical cancer if they are both exposed to human papillomavirus. Age. It's not a sin to grow older, okay? All of us will do, for sure, every minute, every day. But 30 years and older women, please get that screening done, please. Whether some will say, well, why not age 20, then and older? The reason is human papillomavirus becoming symptomatic cervical cancer would take a long time, at least 10 years. So it's fair to put it at 30 and older. Economy. Low socioeconomic status. I'm not saying because you are not earning high pay, then you are going to come down with cervical cancer. No. But that may be because you are poor and you cannot afford the screening process. You cannot eat good foods that will boost your immunity, that will wipe off some of the strains of human papillomavirus and everything like that. That is the reason why low socioeconomic status will come to play as a risk factors, because those who are poor in poor countries may not receive the screening process, and they won't even receive that on time because they cannot afford it. With that, I've come to the end of this very presentation. Cervical cancer should not be killing anybody if we follow all the rules, screening on time, and obeying the instructions of your OBGYN specialist, your family physicians, your nurse practitioners. Thanks for listening. Remember to share. Remember to subscribe to my channel. There are more presentations coming on cervical cancer alone. Thank you. I appreciate it.